time for this week's edition of Who Are We Mad At?
No kidding. Okay, so we don't ever take the pictures down. We just add to it.
That's right. Oh, hi, I'm Erin Davis. Welcome to episode 115 of Gracefully and Frankly.
And I'm Lisa Brandt. And yeah, we've got a lot of ground to cover as always. And it's been a heck of a week.
It really has. And I don't even know where to start. I mean, it's just, so much. How are you? First and most importantly, you took a fall the other day. You took one for the team while you were out delivering leaflets. Oh, Lisa.
Oh, Erin, if someone's been with this podcast from the beginning, we could name every few episodes. Why did Lisa fall this time?
That's right. And what are our prizes? A Sierra Still. And at night, an Envy pillow so she can sleep on it. Oh, God.
And I've got both here, so that's perfect. There was black ice. I was being so careful. I was wearing my Harley boots. They had the best tread of anything I have. They're not the warmest, but with thick socks. And being so careful. And I missed a patch of black ice. And it happened so fast. So the good thing is that if I had cracked my head and that was the end of it, I wouldn't have known what happened. I would have had no idea. But yeah, I just went down like a house of cards, but I'm so grateful I didn't hit my head. So my left side and my left wrist are kind of sore, but nowhere near as bad as they seem to be. So all in all, it's okay.
Oh, my God, girl.
The price of democracy, right?
Yeah, right. You were out delivering leaflets for a party, and you'd never done this before. So
No.
Did you run into anybody? Was there, I mean, not physically, because if anyone would, but did you encounter anybody? Was there any nastiness other than your fall?
No, one woman, the first day I did it, she just came to the door thinking I was her prescription delivery. And when I said, no, I'm dropping this off, I wasn't even going to knock. And she said, oh, I don't want that. That was the worst I got. So that's nothing. One very nice man came to the door and took it from me. But I did it deliberately in a way that I didn't interact with people because I don't want to try and convince people to vote a certain way. That's not how I roll. I want people to vote with their heart. And if they all tend to vote a different way, well, I'll just move to another country.
Yeah. Well, it is election day in Ontario. A lot
Right.
of people voted in advance. Yes. Many mailed in. Many are ticked that it was called with such short notice that they couldn't do it from afar.
Yeah.
And yeah, there's a lot of strategic voting going on. I don't know if you posted it as well, but I did on my Facebook page a smart voting link that shows you who's leading in your riding, who to vote for if you want a certain party to get in so that it's not all fractured. I think people seem to really be getting it this time.
Well, you'd think, but every time there's an election, it seems like, oh, people really get it. They're going to get out and vote and they're going to do this because they care about other people. And then stuff happens that proves they don't. So you never really know. I honestly don't think my candidate has a chance, but that's not the point. He represents my values better than anyone right now. It has changed over the years and nobody's perfect. And there's also the issue of the parties getting funding if they get enough of the vote. And it's a tough one. My riding, I don't think is ever going to change. That doesn't mean I don't do my best to try and help it change, but my best falls short of other people's best. I'm not going to go and try and convince people of a candidate. And frankly, this guy came in so late because of the snap election.
Right. That was part of the strategy. It had to have been.
Well, of course. But I don't know enough about him to go, oh, yeah, he's my guy, and this is the guy you have to have. Who knows?
Well, if we've learned anything over the past few weeks, months, years, it's that somebody you think is absolutely flawless, even great, can turn out to be such a huge disappointment. And oh boy, howdy, have Canadians turned their backs on Wayne Gretzky. And it was building. Everybody had seen his picture with the tangerine Palpatine at his inauguration. And okay, so Wayne Gretzky's a MAGA. It happens. We knew that Bobby Orr was too. Be careful who your heroes are.
He was always mine, Bobby Orr. One of my big ones, yeah.
Number 4, Bobby Orr, of course.
I skated with him once, and I still remember the feeling of his gigantic hand holding my tiny little paw.
Oh,
yeah.
I remember Wayne Gretzky's hand. It's funny the things you remember, because I shook his hand at something at the Bay because he was introducing a line of clothing. And honest to God, it felt like a little wet fish. And I've never told this story because you don't spit on people's heroes. And, of course, at that time, I even bought Rob some Wayne Gretzky sweaters and stuff. They're long gone, thankfully, or they would be now.
When I met him at the opening of his restaurant, his hand was exactly the same. I thought, oh my goodness, you're supposed to be this powerful person, and it was a little wet fish. Now, the other thing is some men turn their hand into wet fish when they shake the hand of a woman.
Mm-hmm. But this whole thing, of course, if you've been under a rock, is about not him being MAGA, which we knew, but just the fact he was the honorary captain of Team Canada in the big game last Thursday. He didn't wear a Canada jersey.
Yeah.
He gave a thumbs up and hung out with the U.S. team between periods, gave the thumbs up to them, and then didn't bother showing up on the ice afterward for the celebrations. It was just all very pathetic.
It was phoning it into the ultimate degree. It's like, all right, I guess I got to do this.
Anyway, there is a petition about that to get the Wayne Gretzky Parkway changed. Everything in Brantford that has its name on it. I mean, you were born in Brantford, soon to be the Lisa Brant Aquatic Center, I guess.
I wouldn't agree with changing the name. I am a Brantfordian, and I wouldn't think changing the name is a good idea. He still holds so many records, and he still brought a lot of prestige to Brantford. He and Phil Hartman and a few other people who were born there. I don't agree with changing the name. And I say that as someone who was born there, so fight me.
Yeah, this is a problem with naming things after living people.
Right.
I mean, we've seen the problems with naming things after deceased people. Ask Ryerson University.
Yeah.
But yeah, it's always a crapshoot, right? It's just like put Terry Fox's name on everything and be done with it.
That's a very good idea. Because Terry Fox didn't make any mistakes.
Yeah.
He is our national hero. He is flawless. And he may have continued to be flawless his whole life. But we tend to look at people like they are all pure and good, or they're all pure and evil, and don't give enough leeway for people to make mistakes and be flawed. And sometimes these mistakes are hard to forgive. The way Gretzky behaved at that game.
And overall, he's led up to this.
Right, that's true. Kevin O'Leary. I don't think we should call them porta potties anymore. We should call them Porta O'Learys. I just thought of that. But yeah, it is difficult. Going back to Ryerson and that era, there were different things going on. I have a problem with taking today's empathetic, greater knowledge and applying it to history. But then again, there are some things that you ought to have known or done if you're a decent person. Everything's complicated, Erin.
It is so complicated, and we want things to be black and white.
Yeah.
And it's just not that way, but we live in a world where if you don't stand up for this, you're a monster, or if you don't stand against this, you're a monster. Which brings us to the tempest that came up with cross-country checkup on the weekend. You brought up the name O'Leary, so I'm going there.
Yeah.
Let's talk about that and the vast anger that A, the show was even done, B, the wording of it, and C, how it was actually executed.
Okay, so CBC's show Cross Country Checkup for the one person who's living under a rock or listening in Malaysia. It is a national conversation on radio, and I am horrified with how CBC handled it because we are never going to be a 51st state to the United States, and what it did was almost try and legitimize that question and put it out on the airwaves. That's where I stood on it. What did you think?
Well, I took a different tack to it. First of all, yes, the wording of the posts or the promotion of it was completely erroneous. The title was 51st State, a cross-border conversation. Now, the big problem is even entertaining that we would be a 51st state. That was their big problem, and someone was not just tone deaf, but completely oblivious to how offensive this is to Canadians, right?
Yep. And it struck me as tabloid journalism. That was a clickbait headline. That's the kind of thing that you poke somebody with to get them to look at whatever it is you're doing. It was not classy. It was not journalism. It just smacked of trying to get eyes on whatever they were doing or ears on whatever they were doing. Outrage sells, right?
Oh, and it sure did.
Yeah.
I mean, more people were talking about cross-country checkup than maybe in history. Is that safe to say?
I believe you. Yes, I agree. Yeah.
I think another part, Lisa, is that we feel so proprietary and so protective, so many of us, about the CBC. They totally accomplished what they wanted in terms of promotion for this. And once you got past the headline, the hook, you went, okay, this is going to be on the air at several 100, 200 NPR stations, which is sort of the American equivalent. So Americans are going to hear how Canada feels about this. And I thought, this is a positive thing. But then when you listen to the show, so many voices, billionaires who they had as guests, got airtime that callers did not. And I thought that was wrongheaded.
I absolutely agree. Cross-country checkup is supposed to check up cross-country. I don't know why they stacked it. Like, they stacked it this way. This wasn't serendipity. This was planned. And it just made me sick. CBC, people love them because it's the only thing that's available consistently across the country. You're living in Upper Rubber Boot. You can't get something else. You get your CBC. And a lot of times there's so many intelligent... they've opened my mind to so many things and brought things that we'd never know of before, made me laugh. All sorts of great stuff has happened there. But they're Canada first. Even just saying 51st state as a phrase on its own legitimizes it, makes it a thing. When it is
It's the rantings of a lunatic, is what it is.
It is the rantings of a lunatic. Somebody said it so well this week, and I won't say his name. When somebody else loses, he thinks he's won. It doesn't matter if it's a single mother on welfare with 4 kids. When somebody else loses, he thinks he's won. So if he hears this spouted enough, parroted back to him, he thinks he's a winner, and it will just continue. The CBC has so much influence. Honestly, I was horrified. And what I put on Threads was that this is the equivalent of a radio station in Ukraine asking its citizens if it really was them who started the war with Russia. We all know it's not true. We all know it didn't happen. We know it's a lie. And it has to be called a lie. People have to have the stones of Emmanuel Macron.
Oh, I loved that the other day. And then just seeing that face on Trump. And of course, you know that he's going to hit back at France harder than ever. But... Macron did have the cojones, which is Spanish, but I won't say any word in French that I'm not sure what it is. But you know what I mean. They have to call him a liar to his face, and very, very few people are doing that.
Before we talk about these things, we have a discussion, and
You're pulling back the curtain, are you, girl?
A little bit, yeah.
Okay.
I look for my turtle shell that I want to hide in because it affects me physically. I feel right now physically unwell just talking about it. That doesn't mean I hide from it or pretend it's not happening, but I can only ingest so much, and I'm just... sick of being angry, and I'm sick of anger, and I'm sick of people. You know what I mean? It's everywhere, and it's just, I'm constantly hiding things on the internet, and I don't doom scroll, and I don't get into everybody's little opinion about everything. And I'm not saying you do, and that's not where this is going. It's just that I have a hard time coming to terms with talking about this.
Part of it comes from, as we talked about last week, being so careful about what we said. And I've just started taking filters off, even with you here. And we never want to alienate or lose a listener. Especially now. I mean, it's not like we're on Ted Rogers' airwaves anymore and have to worry about the Chrysler dealer getting mad at us and pulling his hundreds of thousands of dollars of advertising, which happened to me once because I went in a newspaper article and said I'm no longer a Chrysler customer because blah, blah, blah. What an idiot. But that's another story.
Oh, Erin, I have a story that will pair beautifully with that one day. I feel like the biggest idiot just thinking about it. Oh, yeah.
Me too. But I'm going to make a note for episode 116 next week because we're going to tell these stories. Okay, foot in mouth.
Excellent.
We have the freedom now, and our freedom is to our listeners. We have to get active. I think of the SAG Awards last Sunday night, and Jane Fonda, bless her. Not for nothing is this show named Gracefully and Frankly.
Yes.
Jane Fonda is the GOAT, and she is saying, get up, you've got to do something. And then Demi Moore gets up and talks about the tragedies of the LA fires, but she was reading Eckhart Tolle and reminded to go inside. And I went, oh, wait a second. That is just exactly the opposite of what Jane said. So we have to be somewhere in the middle, somewhere fighting and standing up and not falling down on black ice, but standing up and standing for something. And also taking the time to go inside and say, okay, let them is not Eckhart Tolle, of course, it's Mel Robbins, but let them and then let us.
Right.
What are you going to do about it? You were out there handing out leaflets on a cold day, getting your steps. I'm so proud of you.
Yes.
So where are we in history? Are we just going to stand and listen and let it all happen?
We're absolutely not. There were so many ways to get involved. I thought that I might apply to work at one of the polling stations. And then I thought, wait a minute, a 14-hour day? What if I get a voice job? So I couldn't do that. But Pauline...
Oh, I love her.
She is a district returning officer at a polling station today. She went to our website, Gracefully and Frankly, and it is so easy now to just click one little thing and send us a voice message. And her story is so funny.
Here she is. Here's Pauline.
Hi, Erin and Lisa. Lisa, I chuckled when I heard you on Gracefully and Frankly talking about doing your part with the upcoming election. I had decided to do the same. And I went online and I registered for any position needed. I didn't give it another thought until they phoned me Thursday. The lady from Election Ontario asked me if I had computer skills, and I thought to myself, well, I play euchre on my phone and I do Zoom. So I gave a confident response. And the same night, I was sent to a 3-hour training session for the position of DRO. Looking around the room, I was definitely the senior citizen in that class. And during the session, I'm wondering, how come this new generation never seems to need to ask questions? The instructor was younger than my kids. And the only thing I do remember him saying was, don't let anyone walk away with those Sharpies. And all I really wanted to know was, why was I the only one needing a bathroom break? I came home with my head swimming, wondering, what have I got myself into now? I just keep reminding myself Friday, and it'll all be over. Anyway, I really enjoy your podcast, as well as my Envy Pillow and Sierra Sil, which I will definitely be needing both of them to get me through this week. Well, take care.
Oh, you take care too, Pauline. Okay, now we both have to pee. And we hope that tonight means a nice warm bath and a cozy bed. I mean, especially with your Envy pillow awaiting. She should have taken it for the long sitting today, too, because it travels so well.
Oh, that would be cushy. Yeah, it's a long day and repeating the same things over and over again. And
don't take the Sharpie.
Yes, and it's an X, not a happy face.
Oh.
Yes, and Sierra Sil as well. So thank you, Pauline, for your support of our sponsors and your support of this podcast.
Yeah, so let us do a little mention for both. Of course, Envy Pillow is different. And they have so much more than just pillows. Lisa, I've been using that beautiful copper face cloth you got me and the little black makeup removers, which are great because they don't look like some sort of a crime scene on them when I take off all my mascara and eyeliner and stuff. And of course, they're easy to clean. They're so affordable. So if you're at envypillow.com and use the code GF for 10% off, you can just look at all the stuff they've got. And they are Canadian.
as is Sierra Sil. And of course, they're all natural. It's not going to be long before I'm going to be on it full time because of all the falls I'm taking. And I'm laughing, but it's really not funny. It's true. My knees are starting to get a little bit sore, and it's time. It's time I try Sierra Sil for myself, and I'm going to do it. But I've got to stop falling, and that will really help.
Yeah, well, it's true because they help with your knees, and your knees are your stability. And you can go to sierrasil.com.
Sierra, like the mountains. And if you're not familiar with the mountains, it's SIERRA, SIL.com. And again, 10% off with the code GF.
SIERRASIL. Call them today. Oh, or just email. Yeah. Okay.
Well, you had an anniversary that was nothing like you planned. You even had a plan B, but I think you went to plan R.
Yeah, for Rob.
Right.
Oh, my God.
So your 37th and Rob was flying in. Take it away. What happened?
Okay, so as we told you last week, the big plan was for Rob to fly in about an hour and a half before the big Canada-US game on TV. So we were all excited. It was timing out perfectly. And then WestJet canceled Rob's plane coming in to take him from Vancouver to Palm Springs. Nice 2.5-hour flight. Well, no, it turned into a 6-hour wait at Vancouver Airport. So we figured it out. Okay, it's going to be 9:15. Good thing we moved the dinner reservations to the next night.
Right.
Rob gets in after the game, and I had set up this most incredible recording device. I had a hat rack that looks like a cactus. You know it. You walked into it several times.
I did.
And I still do. And I've got a hat on it, and occasionally I will apologize to it for running into it because it looks like a person.
It does.
So I got tea towels and painter's tape and my iPad, and I MacGyvered this setup so that the iPad was recording the TV, not backwards. I could have recorded it backwards in selfie mode, but I didn't. And then I tested it. I recorded for about, as long as I could. I recorded some golf. And I go back and I look and my iPad is stopped because I've run out of storage. Look, what? So I get in there and it's a hat rack, coat rack that's a cactus. So you got to kind of get your fingers and long nails in between the little bars.
Right.
And I'm going in there, delete Netflix, delete this show, this show, this show, this show. So I made storage, started the recording, paused it between periods, recorded the whole thing. And I'm thinking, okay, Rob, we had a deal. Stay off your phone. You'll be in the bubble. We'll land. We'll come home. You'll watch the game. It'll be great. Except that the pilot on the WestJet flight told everybody every time there was a goal.
Oh, no. Well, most people, I guess, would want that, but
Of course. And there was lots of cheering and everybody was happy and stuff. And Rob was super thrilled to watch the OT when he got home and then the next day to watch the whole game. But he was laughing at me yipping and yelling in the background while this thing was recording. But what a night. And then we go to dinner the next night. And you know what we didn't do? We didn't take the bubbly that was going to cost over $30 for corkage fees.
that's a wise decision, I think.
Yeah. Instead, we probably had the $30 of San Pellegrino water. But anyway,
Right.
It was a nice dinner. But you know, this brought to mind a conversation Rob had with a flight attendant. And they finally all got in their seats. And he was talking to her, and she was doing the announcements, or about to. And he said, I guess you just start getting paid, huh? And she said yes. She had been at the airport in Vancouver since 9 a.m. And only then, after 6:30, when the doors to the plane closed, did she start getting paid.
What?
That has to change. That has to change.
I didn't know that was a thing.
It is for most of the flight attendants. They don't get paid until the door is closed.
No idea. Wow. So all those delays, they're just sitting there probably as frustrated as everybody else.
It's not fair. Who treats people like that?
Wow, that just isn't right.
Yeah.
If anything, we talked about this last episode, how trained flight attendants are and how they're ready to help and do whatever is needed. That's just not right. No.
Do firefighters not get paid for hanging out in the fire hall until the alarm goes?
Yeah, I don't think it works that way. No.
Something sweet did happen while Rob was doing his time, his 6 hours at YVR. Now, WorstJet did give him 2 meal vouchers, so that was nice. But he got a call from Colin and Jane FaceTiming him. And the logic behind this was Brooke had told the kids that Toot was stuck in the airport for 6 hours. And she said to them, what would you want to do if you were stuck in an airport for 6 hours? And Colin said, well, I'd want to play games on my iPad.
Yeah.
And Brooke said, well, do you think Toot would do that? And they both said no. Oh. And then Jane said, oh, maybe he should have snacks. And Brooke said, well, I think he's had his meal, so he doesn't have any snacks.
Oh.
And then they both said, well, maybe he'd like to talk to some friends. That's when Brooke said, well, why don't we call him? So they did. And they had a nice little chat.
Aww. Oh, that's so sweet. They're such thoughtful kids.
They are. Yeah. They are sweet little bunnies, and we can't wait to see them in almost next month. It's going to be April.
Wow.
Yeah. Yeah.
Very cool. Well, at the other end of the spectrum, I'm still seeing my old folks every week.
Other than me?
And you know what? I shouldn't say old folks because they're not all old, but I had signed up to go to a mall outing with them. This is from the long-term care home where I'm volunteering. And so I showed up at the mall and I'm all excited. They were about 20 minutes late. 4 people dropped out before getting on the buses and I wasn't needed.
Oh, no.
Yeah, I didn't get to do it after all. I was looking forward to having one of my women I hang out with the most is in a wheelchair. And I thought, oh, I'll push her around and we'll look at stuff. But no, it never happened. So.
Oh, that's too bad.
I guess the point is that I was there and I was willing. So next time.
Well, you've been a busy bunny, and I know what you're not going to be doing tomorrow.
Nothing.
Buying anything, because the great blackout is happening tomorrow.
Yes, and it started in the U.S. and it's spread here. And the idea is do not buy a thing from American companies. Mm-hmm. Don't go to wherever that's rooted in America. And as we know, I'm afraid to say a name because,
right.
It's just so complicated with who's from Canada, who isn't. So in the United States, it's a buy nothing day. Mm-hmm. Nothing. Everybody's supposed to just not shop and show them what it's like when their dollars are taken away.
We'll see what happens. But we thought we would end this episode on a really high, positive, cross-border, not checkup, but a beautiful moment that happened in Windsor. Did you hear about this?
Yeah, I heard about it from you.
You're not supposed to say that. You're supposed to say, yeah, Erin, I saw it too.
Why, yes, Erin. I, too, saw the story of which you speak.
Okay. So the story is about a diner in Windsor, a place called Toast on Erie Street, where first the servers went ding, 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 everybody pay attention. This couple from Ann Arbor said they wanted to pay for everybody in the restaurant.
Isn't that awesome?
It was. Everybody was cheering and applauding. And the woman told patrons she hates what the United States is doing to us. She doesn't support it. And she's so happy we won the hockey game. And it's a little token of appreciation for Canadians and how much she loves us and how much she loves supporting local. And everybody cheered again for this couple from Ann Arbor, Michigan.
You know, you hear about that happening in a bar sometimes, but never in a restaurant. That's terrific.
Isn't it wonderful? Mm-hmm. Yeah. So today is all about being the change.
Yeah, polls can be wrong.
Yes, exactly. Polls are for dogs and for Lisa to hold on to when she's out walking.
That's another good reason to get a dog and to give in to my dog envy. Sorry, Cuddles. I didn't mean that.
Oh, my goodness. Well, thank you, speaking of envy, to envypillow.com. We love you, Kathy and Kim. And to SierraSill.com. Thank you, Michael Bentley and everyone at Sierra Sill. And congrats again to Carol Clark for being their Customer of the Month for February. She gets to wear that crown for just a couple more days. And you can go to Sierra Sill, see how you could be for March and get some free merch and feel better while you're at it.
Hey, check out our merch too at gracefullyandfrankly.com and do send those messages or emails that come directly to us. It's just we streamlined everything and we're so happy about it.
Yeah, we are just so happy. I'm so glad we had this chat, Lisa. I'm not going to sing Carol Burnett here, but it's nice talking to you. We leave for Canada this Saturday. I cannot wait to come home. Would you dare me to kiss the ground when we get off the ferry?
I don't know. If it's only for a picture. That might make it worth it. Yeah. All right, my dear. Stay safe.
Okay. I'll stay safe. You stay sane, and we'll talk to you again next week.
Bye.
Bye.